Chag Sameach, we are delighted that you are joining us on this Seder Eve and that we have a chance to celebrate together, each of us in our own homes, but connected through prayers and good wishes and the joyfulness of this spring Pesach holiday. We hope you will use this evening's recording as an opportunity to join with either loved ones sitting at the table around you or those in other homes. Pause it as that feels comfortable for you. Whatever pieces are really fit with the Seder you're doing at home, we hope that it feels good for you. We know that many of you are gathered in small family units, and if you're using our Seder, we'd love for you to post a picture on Facebook in the comments so that we can see all your smiling faces when we go back and look. And we know that people are going to be viewing this recording at different times, and it was created to be really useful to you and your family. The mitzvah, the essence of this holiday and the Seder, is to tell the story of our people's liberation from Egyptian bondage into freedom. And so tonight we are to see ourselves like they were, going forth from our own enslavement, our own bondage, and that we take on the story and act it out by use of these rituals. And so to help set the scene and create a feeling of familiarity and a feeling of personal experience, I'd like you to take a moment and consider a time that you felt that you were a wanderer, a time that you were journeying, perhaps a time that you went through narrow spaces. And then also to consider a time that you were redeemed, a time that you arrived in the promised land. We hope that tonight's experience will be one that will give you that same feeling, a feeling of redemption and joyfulness, of celebration, of welcoming springtime through ritual. So I invite you to share your own thoughts with those sitting at the table around you, to place a phone call or a text to somebody, and to reflect on a time that you were a wanderer and a time of sweet redemption. For those watching on Facebook, of course, you can put it in the chat for when others decide to view this video as well. We now begin the rituals by lighting the holiday lights.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. We now look at the order of the Seder. Of course, the word Seder means order, and our Seder is so special because it follows this order. And so we're going to sing the special song about it, and after each of these steps, I hope that you will repeat after me. This is my jazzy version of the Seder order. Now, it usually can use some snaps to make it fun, so get some snapping going. Kaddish, we drink the first cup. Kaddish, we drink the first cup. We wash our hands or hats. We wash our hands or hats. Karpas, we dip the vegetables. Karpas, we dip the veg. Break the matzah yachats. Break the matzah yachats. Magid, we tell the story. Magid, we tell the story. Rochza, we wash our hands some more. Rochza, we wash our hands. Motzi, matzah, bless the matzah. Matzah, bless the matzah. Dip the bitter herbs, maror. Dip the bitter herbs, maror. Korech, a yummy sandwich that we eat. Korech, a yummy sandwich that we eat. Shulchan orech. Oh, doesn't dinner sound so sweet? Shulchan orech. Oh, doesn't dinner sound so sweet? Tzafun the Afikomen, tzafun the Afik. Barech, we bless after the meal. Barech, we bless after the meal. Hallel, we offer praises. Hallel, we offer praise. Nirtzah, we finish our whole spiel. Nirtzah, we finish our whole spiel. And so we come to the first step of our Seder, our first cup of wine. So Kadesh, we drink the first cup. Kadesh, we drink the first cup.
So if you've got your bottle of wine and your Kiddush cup handy, it's time to fill up for the first cup. We begin this festive meal as we do every day. There's our wine cup counter. Thank you, Rabbi Fixler. As we do each of our festive meals, we begin with a blessing over the fruit of the vine, which is our symbol of celebration and gratitude for having reached another time of celebration together. We begin with our special festival Kiddush for this festival. Cantor?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה מועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון, את יום חג המצות הזה, זמן חירותנו מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ומועדי קודשך בשמחה ובששון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש ישראל והזמנים. לחיים. And so now we continue with our Shehechianu, our blessing for reaching this moment. And I've just been feeling how important it is to mark time and to have the Jewish calendar to help us do that with these holidays and with Shabbat, helping us to mark this strange time that we are in right now. So we mark this moment that we are gathering together across homes and with the Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We praise you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season.
Amen. We're going to continue now taking a look at the items on our Seder plate. If you have a Seder plate at your table, now is your chance to make sure that you've got all the on that plate, or most of the ritual foods and some best as you can do substitutes, because we know that all of us are doing the best we can in these very strange days when sometimes it's a little bit harder to get a hold of a shank bone or a piece of horseradish. So we're going to take some turns giving you a brief little tour of our Seder plates. I'm going to go first. My Seder plate is here. I've got my egg up here, some delicious horseradish down here, some parsley, and we couldn't get a hold of a shank bone, so on my Seder plate I have a wishbone, and this wishbone represents my wish for many years of health and happiness with my family.
I have pretty much what Rabbi Hayun has. I have a chicken bone here instead of a shank bone. I'm very grateful. My husband David made charoset this morning, so that was really great to add to my Seder plate. Rabbi Fixler?
Yeah, I had to punt a little bit. We had lamb chops this week, so I have a lamb bone, but not a shank. And I also, we didn't have an egg we were willing to devote to this, so I have my daughter's musical shaker egg. And I've got some horseradish sauce, which was as close as I could get to maror this time. Rabbi Sal?
So we are using this special Seder plate that belonged to Jeff's grandparents, and so it's really special to have it on our table. And we didn't have maror, but I have Tabasco. And Jeff was kind enough to make charoset this morning. The egg on my plate is not yet cooked, but it is present, so it's halfway there. And we also used a chicken bone, so nice pulky from the other night that we dried out for use of today.
We're all doing the best we can.
We wash our hands or hats.
Those of us who are braving this world of coronavirus are washing our hands lots and lots and lots, we hope. And what is interesting about the Passover Seder is it contains not one, but two hand washings. And this orchatz is the first of them. This one is said without a blessing, which makes it a wonderful opportunity to do a 20-second hand washing. So I'm going to head over to my sink. Cantor Simmons is going to sing us something festive that is 20 seconds long, so that we know how long we should be washing our hands.
You have to tell me when you get to the sink.
Okay, I'll let you know.
All right. Just warm up. You ready? Okay. Hey, Jews, don't be afraid. You were made to escape Mitzrayim. In Sinai, God will help you to live, and God will give you all some mayim, 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 mayim. I think that was about 20 seconds. And as you're coming back, we come to the next step of our Seder. Karpas, we dip the vegetables. Karpas, we dip the vegetables. And so we are now going to bless our parsley, which I have here. Got a little wilted since I picked it. Actually, I'm growing some parsley outside. I was kind of excited about it. So here we have our parsley, and we say this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'adama. We're going to dip that in some salt water. And we come to our next step, which is break the matzah yachat. Break the matzah yachat.
The next stage of our Seder flow is to break the middle matzah. If on your Seder plate, in your Seder table, some of us have special matzah sacks that hold 3 different sections of matzah. This section of the Seder is where we'll reach into that bag or into your stack of matzah, and you're going to break the matzah that's in the middle of the stack. The 4 of us were doing a lot of thinking and planning about the metaphors of the Seder and what they meant to us this year. I think all of us in our community and beyond it have experienced moments of brokenness over the last few weeks and months. So we don't have to look too hard to find some meaning about things that are broken in our lives. What I will say though is that the matzah that is broken, half of that matzah goes on to become the Afikomen at the end of the meal. The Afikomen is the sort of special dessert thing that we eat at the end of the meal as a promise of redemption and goodness to come. So maybe the message that we can take from this metaphor this year is that even after we experience brokenness, there's still a hope for redemption and fun and joy in days ahead.
Magid, we tell the story. Magid, we tell the story. So we're now going to begin our Magid section with the 4 questions, which we are each going to chant. This is often something sung by the youngest at the table, so you can divide up the job however feels good for you. And here we go. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot, mikol haleilot.
Shebechol haleilot, anu ochlim hametzu matzah, hametzu matzah. Halayla hazeh, hulo matzah. Halayla hazeh, hulo matzah.
Shebechol halelot anu ochlin she'ar yerakot, she'ar yerakot. Halayla hazeh, maror, maror. Halayla hazeh, maror, maror.
Oh, need to unmute.
Okay. Shebechol halelot ein anu mapilin afilu pa'am echat. Afilu pa'am echat. Halayla hazeh, shetei ve'amin. Halayla hazeh, shetei ve'amin.
Shebechol halelot anu ochlin ben yoshvinu vein mesubin. Ben yoshvinu vein mesubin. Halayla hazeh, kulanu mesubin. Halayla hazeh, kulanu mesubin.
Oh, the Magi, the central part of our Seder is called the telling of the story. And this year we thought we were going to try and do the most high-tech telling of the story that Congregation Emanu has ever done. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see how it goes. So our Magid players ready?
Ready.
Okay, we're going to turn off everybody's cameras.
A new Pharaoh rose up over Egypt, who didn't remember Joseph, and he made the Israelites into slaves. This was back-breaking labor.
Ah, my back!
And it made their lives bitter.
Blech, this is bitter.
After 400 years of slavery in Egypt, God remembered the Israelites and saw their plight.
Oh, that's where I put them.
So God chose someone to lead the Israelites out of slavery. His name was Moses, which was Hebrew for basket case. Moses grew up in the Pharaoh's palace, but due to some really bad decisions in his 20s, he had to move out of his adopted father's house. He settled in Midian and became a shepherd. One day Moses was tending his sheep on the side of a mountain called Horeb. Moses noticed a bush full of flames, but the fire was not burning up the branches.
Weird.
As he walked nearer, God called to him from inside the bush.
Moses.
Here I am.
I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
You look like a bush.
It's a metaphor.
You're a metaphor? I thought you were God.
Focus, Moses. I have seen the suffering of my people, and I am going down to deliver them. I will send you to Pharaoh to bring them out of Egypt.
If I go back to Egypt and say that a bush sent me, the Israelites are going to laugh in my face. Can you at least tell me your name?
Tell them my name is I am that I am.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to help.
You'll figure it out. Plus, I'll be with you. I have spoken. Now go.
So Moses went and confronted Pharaoh and boldly said,
Thus says the Eternal, the God of Israel, let my people go that they may worship me.
I do not know this God of whom you speak, and I will not let Israel go.
And so, because of the hardness of Pharaoh's heart, God told Moses to strike the water of the Nile River, turning it to blood. Moses obeyed, and it was a total bloodbath. Get it? Bloodbath? Huh? But then, Pharaoh's magicians did the same thing, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he refused to let God's people go. 7 days later, God sent Moses back to Pharaoh.
Thus says the Eternal, let my people go. If you refuse, I will fill your country with, frogs.
Again, Pharaoh refused. So Moses stretched out his hand, and frogs came from the rivers, canals, and pools until they covered the land. And yet, even when relief from the frog came, Pharaoh still did not let Israel go. Next, God sent a plague of gnats to Egypt. They attacked the Egyptians, but left God's people alone.
Moses, if you stop these gnats, I'll let your people go.
Really?
Nah, psych.
God sent plague after plague upon Egypt, but each time Pharaoh's heart only grew harder. God sent flies, caused the Egyptians' animals to die, made people sick with boils, sent fiery hailstones, then swarms of locusts that devoured everything in sight. And then, like a calm before the great storm, darkness covered the land.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Ow, 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 you're standing on my foot.
The time had finally come. After 400 years of waiting, there is only one more plague to wait for, the one that would finally bring freedom. Moses spoke one last time to Pharaoh.
Around midnight tonight, God is going to travel through the land of Egypt. Every firstborn son will be struck down and killed, from the firstborn of you, Pharaoh, to the firstborn of a slave. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, Boomer.
Then the Eternal spoke to Moses, saying,
Each Israelite is to take lamb for his family and kill it on the 14th day of the month. Then they shall take the blood from the lamb and put it on the tops and sides of the door frames of their houses. On that day I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn, both men and animals. But the blood will be a sign for you. For when I see the blood on the door frames, I will pass over you.
Pass over. That has a nice ring to it.
Moses told the people of Israel what to do, and they obeyed, and God was faithful to the promise to pass over the houses marked with the lamb's blood. And we go in here and look, yep, no, go around there. We can't go in there. Nope, have it this way. Oh, we'll go over here, and no, can't go in. Nope, gotta skip that one. And okay, there we go. As Pharaoh saw his own son struck dead, he sent for Moses and told him to leave with the people of Israel, and they did.
Come on, everyone. We got to get out of here ASAP. Don't even let your bread rise. Just grab it and go. Plus, I have a feeling we'll never get sick of these crackers.
Moses sent the Israelites across the sea and into the wilderness. They traveled to Mount Sinai, where God gave Moses the commandments so that they would know how to live.
God, these are heavy. Could you have texted me or something?
God commanded that each year the Jewish people would observe a holiday to remember their exodus from Egypt.
Let's call it Exo Day.
I think I'm gonna stick with Passover.
From that day to this one, our people have observed Passover as an opportunity to celebrate our liberation and extend a hand to those still waiting to be redeemed, and they never got sick of matzah.
The
end.
So for our 10 plagues, one of the customs is, if you'd like to do this, is to, for the name of each plague, to dip a small amount of wine out of your cup so that we diminish our celebration on this day when we remember the suffering of the Egyptians. We'll do a sort of call and response here for the plagues. I'll call them out, and then you can repeat back to me in English. We should have the plagues up on a slide in front of us. There we go. Okay. Dam.
Dam.
Spardea.
Vardea.
Kinim.
Kinim.
Arov.
Arov.
Dever.
Dever.
Shechin.
Shechin.
Barad.
Barad.
Arbe.
Arbe.
Choshech.
Boshech.
Makat Bechorot.
Makat Bechorot. And now we are going to sing that well-loved Pesach hit, Dayenu. Ilu hotzi hotzi anu mi Mitzrayim, hotzi anu mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu. Everybody, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu natan natan lanu et hashavat natan lanu et hashavat Dayenu. Everybody, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu natan natan lanu et haTorah natan lanu et haTorah Dayenu. Everybody, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu.
One of the values that the Haggadah articulates to us every year is encapsulated in the phrase it uses, "B'chol dor vador chayav adam lirot et etzmo ke'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim." In every generation, at every time in humanity's life, wherever we live, every person is obligated to see himself as if he or she personally came out of Egypt. So every time Passover comes around again, we're invited, encouraged, commanded to see ourselves as having been personally freed from adversity and oppression. And one of the things that I think this is meant to engender inside ourselves is a kind of empathy and sensitivity to the plight of other people who are suffering. So today we're going to show you a brief video from one of the institutional partners that our clergy team supports, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, that will show you a little bit about some of the situations going on in the world today that remind us of the hardship and struggle that our ancestors went through when we were slaves in Egypt.
I ran away from my home country because of sexual orientation. I come from Uganda. When they found out that I am a lesbian, my aunt, she went to the police station. They said, maybe we stone her. They began hunting for me. I lost everything.
Yo soy abogado en Venezuela. El día que nosotros nos secuestraron dentro de la casa, nos despertaron con una pistola en la cabeza. A mi niña se la querían llevar y yo lo que hice fue arroparla y con mis piernas la abrazaba protegiéndola. El niño pequeño solo tenía 1 año. Uno de los señores, y él le decía, ¿qué me ves? ¿Tú quieres un tiro también? Por eso fue que recogimos todo lo poquito que entró en 2 maletas. Recordar ese momento y llegar acá y no tener nada ni nadie. Sin la ayuda de Hayas, nosotros no estuviésemos aquí.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
The refugees are facing so much difficulties when they are fleeing their country. They really are paralyzed, and we support them to overcome the trauma, not only the trauma that they suffered in the country of origin, but also in the country of asylum.
People in Kenya and Uganda are the same. They don't allow LGBT people. They don't allow us as people. I remember I came from church. That's when I met a gang of guys. They raped me. That's when I got this baby. I had to go to Hayas to report. Thank God I found my caseworker. She helped me out. That's when I knew I was in the safe hand.
I know I can connect with refugees in a unique way because I know what they're talking about. I'm a South Sudanese refugee. Now I work for Hayas as community outreach worker. I help the refugees women facing GBV. I feel for them and they trust in us because we have that call, the passion to help your people.
Hayas is working in 15 countries around the world. We help refugees with their most urgent needs as soon as they arrive. So we are the first organization that take care of them.
Hola, mi amor. Hola, mi vida.
It's like I am supporting my own family. My grandparents were Jewish refugees fleeing from the Holocaust, and they came to Latin America to rebuild their lives. I feel what it means to be a refugee.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo están?
Every month, Hayas Ecuador is supporting more than 10,000 refugees with at least one of the 4 signature programs: legal protection, economic inclusion, psychosocial support, and gender-based violence prevention and response.
We have the issue of this child marriage. This is their mother. She has 9 children. She was beaten by the relative because she's refusing the girl to get married.
We are supporting the refugees that are in a very vulnerable situation and they have the specific needs.
Nosotros somos beneficiarios del programa de inclusión económica de Hayas y este nos ha permitido fortalecer nuestro emprendimiento de joyería artesanal. Vamos al parque. Sí, sí, vamos. Ser refugiado implica haber dejado todo. Empezar de cero, estar en un país que te acoge, buscar una nueva rumbo, una nueva vida, es olvidar lo que fuiste e iniciar nuevamente.
There are people who are wounded in their heart. There are people who are grieving. There are people who are going hungry, who was in need, who was desperate. When they come to Hayas, we'll open our hearts and our arms for them.
Hayas taught me how to walk without fear. But yes, I am me.
Yo nunca me voy a cansar de decirle gracias a Hayas.
We do hope that the message of that video resonated with you, that our past history of difficulty and struggle builds inside of us an obligation and sensitivity to help those others that are struggling and displaced from their homes elsewhere in the world. And so now we're going to continue with the flow of our Seder. So if you've got that bottle of wine handy and your Kiddush cup, we're going to refill for our second cup and offer our blessing over the fruit of the vine once again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Each of us have Seder plates that look a little bit different. Each of us is probably following a Haggadah that's a little different from each other. But on every Seder plate and in every Haggadah, there is space made to emphasize 3 central symbols of the Seder. They're so important that one of the main rabbis quoted in the Haggadah takes pains to say that anyone who hasn't paused to recognize these 3 symbols of the Haggadah has failed to uphold her or his obligations for the Seder night. So we're going to look, all 4 of us are going to take a look at the Haggadahs that we have in front of us, to take a look at these Seders, at these Seder symbols, and take just a moment to explain these 3 central symbols of the Seder. Rabban Gamaliel used to say, anyone who has not explained the significance of 3 things during Pesach Seder have not fulfilled their duty. The 3 are the Pesach lamb, the matzah, and the maror. The Pesach lamb that our ancestors ate in the days of the temple. Why did we used to eat it? We used to eat it to remind ourselves that God passed over our ancestors' houses in Egypt. Moses instructed us, when your children ask you, what do you mean by this Seder ceremony? You should say, it is because of the Passover offering to the Eternal, because God passed over the houses of Israel and Egypt when God struck the Egyptians, but saved our houses.
I'm reading from the Kveler Haggadah for a Seder for curious kids and their grown-ups. And about matzah, it says, would anyone here describe matzah as a fancy or indulgent food? Does it bear any resemblance to, say, a bagel or warm challah fresh out of the oven? Nope. It is dry, it is brittle, it kind of tastes like nothing. Eating matzah is a humbling experience. The Torah calls it lechem oni, which means the bread of affliction, or in other words, poor man's bread. Matzah reminds us what it's like to live through hard times when we don't get to eat special things.
And I am reading from the Hartman's A Different Night Haggadah. and I am reading about maror. So why this maror? Why do we eat it? To remind ourselves that the Egyptians embittered our ancestors' lives. They embittered their lives with hard labor, with mortar and bricks and construction, and with all sorts of field labor. Whatever the task, they worked them ruthlessly.
So we come to the next step. Ruchta, we wash our hands some more. Ruchta, we wash our hands some more.
So the second hand washing of our Seder includes a blessing, whereas the first one did not. And we, of course, have been washing our hands more than ever before and more aware of washing our hands. But this hand washing is not one with soap and water as we've become accustomed. Rather, this hand washing reminds us that our rituals tonight connect us back to the rituals and sacrifices of our people. And as was the tradition of the priests before making an offering at the temple, there was a ritual washing to sanctify and separate what they were going to do from common time. So I will now wash on behalf of all of us. In the blessing in English, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us with demand mitzvot and commanded us on washing our hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. Motzi matzah, bless the matzah. Matzah, bless them. Dip the bitter herbs, my roar. Dip the bitter herbs, my roar.
So we're now up to the three blessings that form in some way the core of the Seder experience: the blessing over the opportunity to eat bread, the blessing over the commandment to eat matzah, and the blessing over tasting the bitter herbs. So if you have got a piece of matzah handy, now's the time to pull it out so we can get ready for a little matzah snack. You can also take some of the maror that you've got on your table. Maybe it's horseradish, maybe it's Tabasco sauce, maybe it's spicy mustard, and get ready to put that on a piece of matzah in just a second. We're going to begin first with the motzi, the blessing over the food that sustains us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We follow that with the blessing over the commandment to eat matzah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Now you can take a bite of that dry matzah to get the taste of that bread of affliction. The next thing that we're going to do is the blessing over the maror. So I have got a spoonful of spicy maror that I'm going to put on my matzah, and we'll say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror.
Amen. Ooh, got a kick.
It tastes like Passover. Corey, a yummy sandwich that we eat. Corey, a yummy sandwich that we eat.
I feel like a cooking show. I just happen to have a sandwich right here.
I have a sandwich. Mine's open face.
Sure.
Oh, mine got a little soggy since we started.
All right, what's in our sandwich?
What?
What's in
Mine's soggy too.
Corned beef?
Maror.
corned beef? This is your Hillel sandwich. This is two pieces of matzah. In between the matzah is a little bit of that spicy maror, a little bit of the horseradish, and a little bit of the sweet haroset to remind us of the sweetness that came after the bitterness.
Pretty good.
Just like Mama to me.
I don't recommend making those ahead.
No, not good.
It's really time to marinate in its own juices.
Okay, so Shulchan Orech, oh doesn't dinner sound so sweet? Shulchan Orech, oh doesn't dinner sound so sweet?
So we've arrived at the part of the Seder where it is time to enjoy your festive meal. We hope that it is delicious, and we will see you after you've had your meal.
Okay, so
Welcome back, everybody. if you paused, and welcome still here if you didn't.
Are we mentioning the poll question?
Sure. We have a poll question up.
I think you just did.
We're mentioning it now. Maybe if it works, there's a poll question on Facebook that asks, should matzo balls sink or float? That great Jewish debate. So we want to know definitively, should matzo balls sink or float? There is a correct answer.
You can also debate whether our polls worked.
If they didn't, I'm sure we'll hear about it in the comments. Okay.
All doing the best we can.
Sapun's the Afikomen. Sapun's the Afikomen.
Okay. Here, we talked a long time about how are we going to do the boy, do we talk a long time about that. And we have a plan, which is we are going to pass the Afikomen between our 4 squares of the miniature Brady Bunch we have going on here. And you have to bet before we start passing them who it's going to end up with. And then if you guessed right, you can't change your guess after we start passing it, that's totally cheating. If you guess right, then you win the Afikomen and tell us about it in comments. That is the plan. All right. Is everybody ready? This is going to be great. Okay. I am starting with the Afikomen.
More bets.
Everybody made their predictions? Okay. Here we go. Like every good Hollywood production, we had to do some reshoots. So here is Passing the Afikomen, take 2.
Do, 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 do.
Oh, Leon gets it. Who would have expected that?
He always gets the Afikomen.
The Afikomen, that's one of the rules. That's one of the rules.
You knew that we were all magicians, but now you know.
Through the magic of Zoom.
All right, if you bet on me, you can contact Rabbi Fixler for a reward. He's got something special. Yeah.
Thanks for selling me out, sir. All right.
Barech, we bless after the meal. Barech, we bless after the meal. Rabbi Fixler?
Yes, that's Barech. We bless after the meal. First things first is to pour your 3rd cup of wine.
Oh.
That is the cup that.
Oof. Boy.
I know. When you do it this quickly, they really run together, these cups of wine.
Wow, that's a big cup. How's our wine cup counter, by the way? Has that been updated?
Oh, where's that?
Well, I totally missed cup number 2.
Oh, should we go back?
My grandfather, who used to lead all the Seders of my childhood, used to have cup 2A and 2B and 2C during dinner. Okay, so we've come now to Barech, our blessing. I have a short blessing for the meal that we've eaten, and then I think we say the blessing over the wine, if my notes are correct. Yes. Okay. Jewish blessings for food are a strange thing. We praise God who brings forth bread from the earth, or who creates all, knowing that bread does not spring forth from the earth, and that knowing that our food has many creators. This year, perhaps more than any other, we are aware of the miracle that is our meal and the many hands that were lent to bring it to our table. The people who grow our food, the people who pick it and pack it and ship it, the people who drive the trucks that bring our food to the stores where someone stocks it to shelves, the checkout clerk and the delivery driver, the cook, the kids who were sous chefs in their own helpful ways, all so that we can eat. When we praise God as Hazan et HaKol, the provider of food for all, we also hold an awareness of all who labor to provide our food. In this year of fear and scarcity, let us be ever more grateful for that blessing as we say, Baruch Atah Adonai Hazan et HaKol. And now our blessing over the 3rd cup of wine. Wait, I can show it to you. Nope, I can't.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. I am.
Amen. And this brings us to opening the door for Elijah, which is also a strange and beautiful moment of our Seder. The Hasidic Rebbe Naftali Tzvi Horowitz used to go around the Seder table inviting each participant to pour from their personal wine cup into the cup of Elijah. This symbolizes the Kabbalistic concept that divine action will occur when there is a corresponding human action, an awakening from below that summons an awakening from above. Elijah is the symbol of redemption of a world perfected. He is the symbol of God's help reaching out to us. This moment of welcoming Elijah at our Seder originates from a dark time in Jewish history, from a period when Jews feared that their Passover Seders might draw the wrath of their neighbors. So they sang to Elijah to deliver them from their distress. But Rav Naftali Tzvi reminds us that we are participants in our own redemption, that it is our hand reaching out to God that draws God's hand back to us. In this moment of COVID-19, this moment of challenge and hardship, let us remember that we have the power to make a difference. We can wait for others to save us, or we can recognize our own ability to make a change, our own ability to protect our neighbors and ourselves by staying in and social distancing, our own ability to call and care for our loved ones and communities, even from afar. This year, when we may not open the door for Elijah, since we're not supposed to have any guests in our homes, we can recognize our power to be Elijahs for each other, to bring about a better tomorrow. And to celebrate that, we sing Eliyahu Hanavi.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Imera Veyamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Nirtzah, we finish our whole spiel. Nirtzah, we finish our whole spiel.
We're arriving now at the very last stages of our journey through the pages of our Haggadahs and the journey of our Seder. Nirtzah is the closure of our service, the time that we begin to actually turn our eyes to look toward the year ahead, to think about what the phrase next year in Jerusalem really means. What are we hoping for from the year that stretches out in front of us? What can we imagine? What do we desire our Passover Seder will look like next year? Who will be at our tables? What will we be eating? What will we be celebrating? And for what will we be grateful? Those are the ideas and the hopes and the vision that we focus ourselves on now as we move toward the end of this Seder and the beginning of the year ahead. And so to do so, we're going to pour even more wine into our cups. This is cup number 4. Really glad I poured the big cup this time. There we go. All right, our 4th cup.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. And we close with the words next year in Jerusalem. Lishana haba'a, Lishana haba'a, Lishana haba'a b'Yerushalayim. Lishana haba'a, Lishana haba'a, Lishana haba'a b'Yerushalayim. Lishana haba'a, Lishana b'Yerushalayim. Lishana
We are so grateful that you spent a bit of time with us this year for Passover to celebrate those eternal themes and ideas that are at the heart of our Seder, the themes of liberation, redemption, and freedom, of our obligation to our fellow human beings, and for the undying hope and optimism that lie at the heart of the Jewish experience. We're so glad that you spent a bit of time with us this year. We hope that your Seder, whatever it looked like, wherever it was a time to celebrate, to give thanks for your blessings, and to find that spark inside of yourself that is in need of redemption, that it will be set free in this year, and that you will be an agent of redemption for someone else. Chag Sameach, happy Passover. Hope it's a wonderful year and a great Pesach for you and those you love.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, everyone.
Chag Sameach.